I love this gospel. I love this line, and I appreciate your presence here this morning. I love that line, Rabbi, how good it is for us to be here. Let us set up 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. Peter really did not know what he was saying. You know, I think all of us could admit there's something unique and something special and liminal about holy experiences or holy moments in our lives. I'm not sure if you've had them, but I've had a number of them. Those moments where you encounter the divine in some way in your life and you go, wow, this was special, right? This was cool. And sometimes, just like Peter, we try to grab it and we try to say, oh, it's good that we're here. Let's hang on to this, right? Let's build an altar. Let's put up a tent. Let's do something to mark this time. I was recently on vacation, as many of you know, and we were on a sunset excursion, right, just to see the sunset. And we were greeted with a really spectacular sunset. And we were out on the Caribbean Ocean, and now, mind you, even though I'm colorblind, and I hope like heck I'm wearing purple, am I? I thought of that as I walked in. I thought, oh no, do I have the right color? I'm colorblind, but that night, as we were on this excursion, I could see these beautiful pinks and yellows and reds and the peaceful blues of the skies and the oranges, and it literally was pretty spectacular. It was pretty spectacular. And in many ways, I, like Peter, was fighting with myself. I wanted to take pictures of the stupid thing. And I wanted the moment to enjoy it as well. And I wanted to enjoy it with the people who were with me and around me. I was trying to capture that moment, that experience, and the vividness of those colors. And I knew that my cheap phone wouldn't do very well, and it didn't. But at least it kind of grasps what I'm talking about. As the sun kissed the water, it was a spectacular show. And you could almost hear the sizzle, right? When that sun set into that water, and I wanted to capture it, and I even thought to myself, okay, God, I'm going to take a picture for you. It's like God doesn't need a picture. He's got it, but I was in control. I knew that I had this down. But how can you capture the experience? How can you capture the smell of salt water and the rock of the boat and the joy of shared friendships and the utter beauty of a sunset? You simply can't grasp it. You can't put up a tent and you can't build an altar because you can't capture holy moments. They're precisely holy moments. Last week I had supper with 2 other friends, and we celebrated the memory of the death of my friend Emmy Seidling. It happened a year ago last Friday, and we talked as we celebrated supper. We talked about all the memories, right? All the memories we have of every loved one in our lives, and you know, the times that they ticked us off, and the times that they made us laugh, and the times my 2 friends were there, and they said it was so weird, Marty, when Emmy died, because you took your shoes off, and I looked at you in the hospital room and like, what the hell are you taking your shoes off for in the hospital, you know? But I always do that when I know somebody's passing, right? For the ground on which you stand is sacred ground. So I took my shoes off, I walked over, and I put my hands on Emmy's head, and she opened her eyes, and a tear ran down her face, and she breathed her last. And all of us in that room wanted that moment and not the following one, right? We wanted that moment and not the one to happen that followed. We wanted to capture with all our hearts everything that happened in that moment. But we simply can't. You can't grasp holy moments. You can only fully encounter them. The point is, my friends, I think the gospel today invites us to live holy moments in our lives, to be exactly what Peter was when he experienced Jesus and Elijah and the prophet in that experience on the mountain. That's exactly what Jesus is asking us to do, inviting us into creating holy moments in our lives. Reverend Corinne last week made reference to the fact that she was entered into Lent, right? And went skiing, and she had the Snicker bar in her pocket, and she gave up candy for Lent, and she was skiing, and she grabbed the Snicker bar, put it in her mouth, took a big bite, and it was like, shit. But the fact is that she turned it around, not into something that was shame and hurtful, but into something that was a moment of like, you know what? God's okay with this. I made a mistake, totally not intentional, didn't do it in a way that was hurtful. I did it because I created a moment in this little time skiing on this stupid mountain in which I could encounter God. So what's a holy moment? A holy moment is a single moment in which we open ourselves to God. We make ourselves available to the divine. We set aside our personal preferences and our self-interests. And for one moment, we do what we prayerfully believe God is calling and inviting us to do. That's a holy moment. When you and I disappear, God appears, and we simply encounter it, right? And maybe, my friends, maybe that's what Lent could be for each and every one of us. Maybe what we could do is create those holy moments in our lives over these 40 days and just encounter God a little bit more deeply or a little bit more intensely. Imagine how awesome this journey of Lent could be if we allowed ourselves those holy moments. Part of one of my practices this Lenten season is I took my stupid Echo Dot at home, and I'm not an Amazon fan, but I'll tell you, I got this Echo Dot, right? I got 3 of them. Okay, they're all over my house. They're all interconnected because I'm deaf. I took the Echo Dot and I set it up for, at 8:30 a.m., I get a notification for a mindfulness minute, right? And so sometimes they're a little far out, but it takes you for simply 60 seconds. It takes you into a meditation moment. And for 60 seconds, I simply do nothing. Kathy was with me yesterday morning, and it came on, and she's like, what the hell's this? I said, just listen, just listen. And so we shared that moment. I'll tell you, I've only done it, what are we, a week and a half into Lent? I'm starting to love this stupid 60 seconds. It's like, wow. I get to breathe. I get to experience God. It's like, darn, maybe I should set this up for twice a day, I just get to create a little holy moment in my life. And in this sea of negativity, which I think is almost worse than the rainstorm before Noah's Ark, I need those little glimpses of hope, right? Those little glimpses of happiness and joy. And those 60 seconds seem to be helping a little bit. Maybe Lent could be for each and every one of us, that opportunity, an opportunity to realize just a little deeper, with a little greater awareness, that every moment, every breath can be a holy encounter with God. This is my last statement. Holy moments are simply those moments in which we allow God to be God, and the moments in which we allow ourselves to be us, and grateful that we're not.